Hello, it's your boy Davidoff. Welcome back to Movie Monday. If I sound quiet and tired, it's because I am tired. It was meant to be my day off today on Sunday, but instead I agreed to a 10-hour overtime shift, and I finished at midnight. So yeah, very late shift. It's actually currently 2 a.m. But I'm watching Argo. It's last minute. Last week was also last minute because of the... Where was it last minute last week? Can't remember. Anyway, as I was saying, we're watching. Last week it was See No Evil, Hear No Evil, a very comedic movie, very funny. This is a serious, true story about the 1979 Iran hostage crisis. I don't know the full details of it, but I know the rough, the negotiations, what happened, the history behind it. I know about that stuff, but I don't know the complete detail about the crisis itself and like how it was negotiated. So that's what Ashim this is about, but I also know there's also a film. So Ben Affleck is directing this. He has a knack for this because he directed Air as well. That was great. He's a good director, and I heard good things about this. It would have been interesting to see his Batman movie because he was due to direct a Batman movie, but it didn't happen. I wonder how it would have been because he clearly is a good director, so I'm just curious to know how that would have been. But anyway, Ben Affleck is directing and also playing a character, how he normally does it when he directs. So I'm pretty sure he plays the guy who's key behind evacuating hostages because Iranians stormed the US embassy, took a lot of hostages. 6 escaped. That happens in the opening scene actually. They show you 6 escaped. You see how they escaped, and you see people being taken hostage. So I know about that stuff, but as far as I know, they pose as a film crew to get the 6 people out, and then negotiations get the rest of the people out, as far as I know. And I think Ben Affleck's going to be he's going to be behind that film crew stunt. So he's got the plan is to get them out through the airport. Also, yeah, but it's based on a true story, so I'm intrigued to see how it was done, how it's portrayed. I heard good things about this film in terms of how the characters were portrayed, how the story was done. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes, and I know how it goes because it happened in real life, but I'm just intrigued to see how it's acted out. It's got a good cast. Obviously, Affleck's there, Kyle Chandler. Who was the other guy? There's a lot of familiar faces, to be fair. Bryan Cranston is in this. But yeah, there's John Goodman, Alan Arkin, Victor Garber, Tate Donovan, the list goes on. There's Scoot McNairy, sorry. There's a lot of big names, familiar faces that I haven't mentioned either. It's got a pretty damn big cast. So yeah, I'm watching the movie now, and the opening scene is pretty terrifying. You see the history of Iran, and then you see the storming of the embassy. It really sets the tone for the movie, so... It's intriguing how Ben Affleck's character wants to go into that on a commercial flight, pretending to be a film crew, and convincing the Iranians that they are a film crew, and then flying out on a commercial flight with the hostages as the film crew. That's just... it seems impossible, right? But we're going to see it in action. This is all very interesting because I don't know the full details. So they had to develop a film poster and the name of the movie was Argo. Argo was the name of the science fiction film, the fake film. They had to convince Hollywood it was real. They had to convince other actors it was real. Do a whole presentation, like a Comic-Con type panel, which was quite interesting. It looked like a Star Wars ripoff from the poster. They convinced them, and he went to Turkey to get an approved visa and flew into Tehran. And on the basis of he's filming a movie for business, he managed to get into Iran. So he's done that bit. Now he's got to find 6 people and get out with them. And as long as the airport officials don't check that he arrived with 6 people, then he should be able to get out as a film crew. This is some erratic, crazy plan. Because if he gets caught, obviously he's going to get tortured. He's going to get captured. So it's it's an insane ploy, and he's doing it on his own. It's just crazy. I don't think I mentioned it's also a Canadian operation. So Americans are involved through CIA, but it's Canadians doing this whole operation. And Ben Affleck's playing Canadian character, and he's trying to escape with them by giving them fake Canadian passports as well. So that's another thing. it's very interesting how this is unfolding. It's very tense, and he's also got to like apply for film permit in Iran as well, to convince them that, you know, they're actually filming a movie. It's interesting, like one of the hardest bits of this is that he's got to convince all these hostages that they are part of a film crew. Like one's a producer, one's a director, whatever. Like you got to assign roles, they got to remember their roles, so they can answer questions. There's one person who's with his wife, two of the hostages are married, and he doesn't trust him because he doesn't think he would get him out, and the plan sounds ridiculous, and it is ridiculous, to be fair. It's understandable to be doubtful, doesn't want to put his wife in danger. And I feel like convincing him to do it, to do the escape plan, was harder than actually getting into Iran. That's something I did not know. The government wanted to pull out completely. They wanted to abort the mission because they didn't want to risk embarrassment, basically. Basically the reasoning was if 6 Americans get dragged out of home and get executed, it's an international outcry. But if they get executed, getting caught at an airport with a fake film, it's an embarrassment for the country. So yeah, out of the risk of getting embarrassed, they decide they want to pull the mission. I'm assuming Ben Affleck does it anyway. Not Ben Affleck, his character, but yeah. I say his character as if it's not a real person, but you get the point. It's mad how it's filmed. Like maybe it's done in the movie to dramatize it, maybe it's exaggerated a little bit, but they're going to the airport to go through this plan. They got to go through multiple checkpoints. They got to pretend they're Canadian, pretend they're doing a film, whatever. Meanwhile, in America, they have not bought the tickets yet. They've not purchased, because the operation's been pulled. You know, the government has not. I'm sorry, I'm watching the scene and it's tense. Sorry, because they aborted the mission, they're not purchased the tickets. So they're going to the airport without the tickets being purchased. And Ben Affleck's character just, you know, he asked the person at the airport, and they said, "We got no reservation for you." So Bryan Cranston from he's playing a CIA operative who's very angry about this. So he makes some calls to the White House to make sure it's purchased, and they purchase it right on time. So when Ben Affleck's character says check again, the reservation is there. So now the mission is on, and now they got to get through these checkpoints. Some parts definitely seem dramatized because they created a fake office for this movie as well. And there's 2 directors trying to get to there's 2 people who's running the office. They're trying to get to the producer's building, which is where the phone is. At the airport, the group gets stopped, and they got to convince them they're making a film. So they're telling the airport officials, "This is our card, call the studio." They'll verify. The phone's ringing, but believe it or not, the 2 people running the office, they're held up by a film crew filming a scene. Surely this can't all be accurate. The act paid off though. Like they had storyboards, they had actual storyboards that they showed them, like this is what we're doing, here's pictures, here's a poster. They're really prepared, and luckily one of the hostages actually speaks Iranian. Is Iranian the word? Is that the language? Anyway, he speaks the language. No, it's not, the language is not Iranian. Language is, I can't remember what language it's called, but he speaks the local language. That helps them quite a lot because he explains to them in their language, this is what we're doing, here's the storyboards. So that definitely helped quite a lot. So they got clearance, they got on the plane, and then the Iranians found out that in this movie they found out who they actually were. So they got in their vehicles, they broke through airport doors, broke into the airport tower to stop the plane and chase the plane down with their cars as it was taken off. Surely that was dramatized. So I looked it up and it says Argo has a lot of accurate things, like the government did actually pull the plane tickets, like that happened the day before, and then they decided to go to the plan anyway, just like in the movie. The hostages were all together, they were separated in real life. In this movie they're all together. The whole film crew thing is real. That is real. But in real life it worked out smoothly. They got through customs. They were nervous and it was hard, but they got a morning flight with less staff and they got there without any trouble. So that whole scene of them being chased down in this movie is not there in real life. In real life they got out smoothly. In this movie it's different. I'm also pretty sure in real life they were hidden until, because there were still a lot of hostages in Iran that were captured. These were the ones that escaped. So I'm fairly sure these hostages were hidden until the rest were freed through negotiations. So I thought that was intriguing. So even though CIA were involved, the Canadians took all the credit. And and it had to be done that way, otherwise, you know, there'd be trouble for other hostages. It had to be clear to the Iranians and to the whole world that it was all Canada's doing, even though it was like a joint effort. It was all Canada's doing. No president was involved, no CIA. Just give credit to the Canadians. That's the only way they could keep, I wouldn't say peace, but like keep it to an extent where they could still negotiate for the rest of the hostages. I assume the rest of the movie is not about the rest of the hostages. I assume that that's not going to be part of this movie, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's only 10 minutes left. That was pretty interesting though. Only thing is though, because it's a true story and because it's like a really serious thing, I kind of wish they didn't dramatize it. Just show what actually happened. You don't have to go crazy with guards chasing down and taking you off plane. Like, this ain't Fast and Furious, mate. But yeah, it was well acted. It was really good. It was fairly accurate for some parts, for a lot of parts, but there was some very big scenes, clearly for drama. But yeah, I thought that was quite good. It was very well directed, well acted, so fair enough. I just don't like how they romanticize it so much. If I was to rate it 7 out of 10. Anyway, that is all. I'll have to talk about it more because it's a very interesting subject. But yeah, I need to go to bed. So this is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you